screen so I can show it to you guys how to do it. Okay, so just wait a second. Any other concerns other than that? All right, so let's open the lab number 12 because that is the next example in our PDF. And also one thing that I would like you guys to know is if you're trying to test your program while it's in compressed format, like it's in RAR format or zip format, do not do that one. Okay, you will not be able to open the program properly. Okay, because it's being compressed. So if you want to test your program, you have to extract that compressed folder that you have just compressed. Okay. Oops, what happened? All right. Okay. So later on, I'll show to you guys how will you test your program if it's working or no. So for now, let's solve the problem by Mr. Stanton. All right. So by default, you will see right here that the name of your form or your interface is form1. So to change that one, just click anywhere. Okay, as long as you're not clicking any other component. So just click anywhere and then it will lead you to this properties of form1. And then below that, you will see the text. Then beside it, we have the name form1. So here's where you can change the name or the title of your program form. Okay, so let's say pizza ordering system. So just hit enter and then that's now. You have already changed the title of your program. Was I
Thank you
able
po,
to
sir.
answer? Okay, good.
Yes po, sir. Salamat po.
So again, reminder, if you want to change the name of a certain object, okay, I mean the text of a certain object, it should be beside the text, okay, not beside the name. All right, like for the example in your form, the name of your form is still form1, even though the name of your form right here is now pizza ordering system. Okay, so those two are different with each other. This is the address, the one that you're calling if you're going to program that form. Okay, so also that I would like you guys to know is, okay, let me just go to my users and source repos. All right, so for example, this is your compressed file of your lab number 7. And then, of course, this is the one that you're going to submit because I need everything inside of it. So if you're going to test this one, like for example, you're going to hit enter and then you're going to open everything. Let's say opening this solution lab number 7. Yeah, you will still be able to open it, but you will get some error. Like for example, this one. Okay, and you won't be able to do it properly. Like for example, right here, it's now unloaded. Okay, so that is why if you want to test your program, okay, you have to extract this one first. Some files extract from solution. No. Okay, so that is why if you want to test this one, you have to extract this one first. Okay, extract to solution lab number 7. Okay, so always go for this one instead of choosing extract here, extract files. Just always go for this one because this will give you a folder for that extracted file instead of having extract here and then it will give you all the files inside of this one, okay, or in this place also, so it will become messy. So just click this one so that it will create a folder and then it will put everything inside of that folder. Okay, like for example this one, where is extract, right here. So the extracted file is now this one. Okay, so this is now the one that you can test. All right, so just wait a second. I'll just do something. Just 1 minute, guys. All right. So, okay, so going back to our uh, way of testing your project. So there you go. This is now the one that the working version of that extracted file. Okay, so I hope I made this one clear to you guys so that to avoid uh, let's say getting nervous like before it was working, but when I compress it and then I tested it, it's not working anymore. Okay, so you have to extract first before you can test it uh, to make it work. Okay, so any other questions so far? Hello, hello. Are you guys there? Hello. May tao pa ba? Or kumakain na kayo? Paano po i-zip file? Okay, so first, if you don't have a application to compress it as a RAR or zip, you have to download it first. Okay, so it could be WinRAR or 7 7-zip. Okay, so any of those two will be fine. Okay, and then once you're done installing this one, okay, just click download and then install this one. Once you're done installing this one, if you want to compress a certain file, let's say assignment 01, so just right click this one, and then you will see right here this kind of book, the red, blue, and then green. So just click add to archive. Okay, add to archive, and then from here you can choose RAR or zip. So in my case, I always go for RAR because this one is much more stable and safer. Though this one will give you a much more smaller size. So this one comes in advantage if you want to really compress it as possible as it can. But in here, maybe it will compress it divided by 10. So instead of having a 25 megabit, you will only have a size of 2.5 MB. Okay. So yeah, just go for RAR and then just hit OK, and then it will be compressed into something like this, right? And then this is not the one that you're going to submit in our module. All right. Any other concerns before we continue our discussion on module 8? You're welcome, Miss Danny. You have three names: Danny, Chris, and then Anne. Which name they always call you? Miss Danny, Miss Chris, or Miss Anne? Or all of them? Danny. Yeah, that's the problem, of having multiple names. It's always the first word of your name that's being used. But in my case, it's a different scenario since, as you guys may already know, my first name is Daniel, and it's quite hard and weird to pronounce. So they always call me Paul. Okay, so maybe in my case, it's uh, a special case. But anyway, so if you guys don't have a question anymore, then let's now proceed with the sample problem number 12. So yeah, I believe that this is where we stopped last meeting. Am I right? Or are we done with this one already? Anyone who can recall
Done.
where did we stop last meeting? Are we done with this one or not yet?
Not yet, sir.
All right, so let's do this one. Sample problem number 12. So in here, I believe also that I explained this one already. So in here, we're just going to create an application called Bingo, wherein it will generate a letter corresponding to its number. Let's say 1 to 15 is letter B, and then 16 to 30, 30 is I, 31 to 45 is N, and so on and so forth. Okay. So here's the sample interface. We have two labels, numeric up down, and then one text box. Okay, which is the same with this one, just a different arrangement, and this one doesn't have a back color. By the way, what important is the functionality of this program. So the one that I program is of course this numeric up down, so that once I click or change a value of this one, it will trigger or execute the entire program. Okay, so here's the code for this one. Again, I made an algorithm wherein number 115 will generate this letter B inside of our text box. 16 to 30 will generate this letter I inside of our text box, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's start this one. All right, so if we're going to start with 1, so of course that's the time that it will generate a letter inside of our text box until we reach number 16. Okay, that's the only time that it will change into letter I, because we now have a different formula for this one. So 16 to 30 is I, yes, and then 31, yeah, 31 to, I don't know, 31 to 40, 31 to 45 is letter N. Okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, until you'll reach 75. Okay, and then in here I've just added, okay, and a false solution, or I mean a false statement. Okay, because in here up to O, it can still accept 75 and above, but in my case I changed the code into, okay, let me just close this one. Okay, so in my program I limited it up to 75 only, so that's once it's not within the range anymore, like 1 to 75, it will proceed to this else statement, wherein it will say not within the range of bingo numbers. So if I will increment this one more time, it will remind me that it's not within the range of bingo numbers anymore. However, it's still incremented by 1. Okay, that's uh, one lacking of my program. So it should not go beyond 75. So there is another work to do in here. Once it reaches 75, it will not be incremented by 1. Okay, but anyway, the purpose of I mean the functionality of having a 1 to 75 is already in here. So that's already a good start with this example. Okay, so again, you can see the solution right here. We just have different namings of variables, like for example in numeric up down, so it has a different name, and what else, and then the same with label. So instead of text box, in here I have used label. Okay, because in my case I've used text box, but those two will be fine because they will display a letter inside of it. Okay, all right, so were you guys able to get the idea of this one so far? Okay, very good. So there's at least one is getting the concept. But anyway, so in order for you to appreciate this one, so you need to do this one, or you need to experience this one by yourself. Okay, so you're the one who's going to put a label, you're the one who's going to put a numeric up down, you're the one who's going to put a label or a text box, and then you're the one who's going to program everything. And then from there you will see, that okay, you can change this one into something like this, and then instead of displaying N, it will display the letter that you have changed it into. Okay, you can also change this one into a label, so instead of using a text box, you can put it inside a label. Okay, so you can do a lot of things. Okay, you can experiment, explore, add more, delete. So what important is you're getting the idea or the concept on how this program is happening. Okay, line by line. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this example. Moving on, we have here random numbers. Okay, so we cannot, of course, in bingo. Okay, we wanted to generate a random number and then it will be displayed on this equivalent letter. So we actually have that function, okay, in VB. We call that one RND. Okay, this RND and then close and open parenthesis. So this RND will generate a random number, okay, between 0 and 1. Okay, so take note, it's decimal, 0.01, 0.02, 0.5, 0.90, and so on and so forth. So if you want to have a whole number, just multiply the entire equation by 100. So from there, you will know, is it 100 or 10? We'll check later on. But for now, let's try this one. Okay, so what I will do is I will copy this one so that we can have a faster way of doing this. Let's create a new project, new file. My bad. That is fine. So we have to close that one first before we can create a new project. Okay, and then Windows Forms up. The next. And then right here, I'll put it inside Visual Basic Branching. Okay. So I already have created a random example. So let me close this one and then open that project instead. Okay, RND sample. Then double click button form one. All right, so oh, why is it different? Well, anyway, I have a backup for that. As single, and then s is equal to random text one. And then we need a text box wherein we're going to display that random number. And then let me just change the font size into 40. It's still small. Change it into 70. Go. All right, so let's test this one. So if I click this button, it will generate a random number from 0 to 1. So there you go, 0.7055475. Okay, let me just make this one longer so that it can occupy all of the decimals. Okay, just wait a second. So if I click button 1, so it will generate 0.7055475. If I click this one again, it will generate another random number, another random number, another random number. Okay, so again, the range of this one is from 0 to 1 only. Okay, so actually it has a bug, or what do you call this one? Mm, let's just call it disadvantage or a limitation. Okay, because as you guys can see, at very first of generating a random number, it always generates this fixed value. Okay, this 0.7055475. Okay, the only thing that we cannot predict anymore is the second and third and fourth generated numbers. Okay, but for the first one, okay, it always generates 0.7555475. Okay, but don't you guys worry. Visual Basic um, made a solution for this one, so I'll show to you guys later on how to make a remedy, okay, for this bug or limitation of this random function. So for now, you only need to declare a variable wherein whatever is the one that's being generated, a random number will be passed onto that variable, and then that's the one that we're going to display into a text box or into a label. Okay, so did you guys get the idea of random function, this RND right here? Hello, hello. Okay, so Mr. Giovanni is always present. Okay, so I really appreciate that you're paying attention. Anyway, so I hope the others got it too. So yeah, here's the first. Oops, what is this? So here's the first generated numbers. It's always 0.7555475. So again, here's the problem. It always be the same number at first. So here's the remedy. So we have to use randomize function. Okay. So this is another let's say randomizer. Okay. So we have a randomizer called RND. So in here we have another randomizer called randomize. So in here we're just going to randomize the randomizer. Okay. So it's like double randomization. Okay. So in here, all we need to do is put the randomize, okay, right here. And then close and open parenthesis. So save it and then hit start. So in here, it should not display 0.75547 anymore. So there you go. So it's now a different number. Okay, let's try it one more time. If it's really correct. There you go. So another different number. Okay. So if you want to have a whole number, you have to multiply that one by 100. I believe it's 100. Yeah, 100. And then if you want to remove the decimals, you have to format this one. Okay, format, and then 0.00, I guess. Let's try this one for now. Yeah, there you go. So again, if you're still confused on how to use this format, so I have discussed this one on module 7. So just go back there. So there you go. It now generates a whole number from 0 to 99. Okay, so this one will not generate 100. Okay, because the maximum is, I think it's possible up to 100, but it's rare. Mostly up to 99 only. But knowing that, it generates 0 to 1. So 1 times 100, I mean 0.001 times 100 is 1, okay, or 100 if it's 1. Well, anyway, so yeah, that's how you fix this RND function. Just put another randomizer function. So are we clear so far? Okay, very good. So at least there's two who were able to get it. All right, so let's now move on to this alternative solution to bingo. Okay, so it's still the same. We still have this generated number. I mean, this numeric I've done before, but there's now a randomizer, this button right here, random number, and then the corresponding number of this one will be, the corresponding letter of this number right here will be generated right here, okay, on this label or on this text box. Okay, so let's do this one. So let me just check if I have that project. Random function, random sample. Here you go. Alternative solution to bingo. All right. So let's try this one first. Okay, so just wait a second. What happened? All right, so there you go. So if I click this one, it will generate a random number. So 49 is G, 68 is 0, 13 is B, 26 is I, and then so on and so forth. Okay? So one thing that I've added in here is, as you guys can see, it doesn't generate a 75 and above. Okay, it only generates a range of from 0 to 75. Okay, or 1 to 75 to be exact. Okay, so I did add this one. Okay, so I have a rep in here, or let's say repeater. Okay, so in other words, we call this one loop, so that once it exceeds, within this range right here, it will uh, execute this go to rep. Okay, So this rep right here will go back to this rep variable right here, and then it will generate again a random number until it meets one condition inside of our conditions. Let's say 1 to 15, 16 to 30, and so on and so forth. Okay. So if it's not within the range of this one, then this will be triggered again, and then it will go back right here. Okay. So that's a good thing about loops. Okay. So in here, uh, we also have this one rep, okay, so that it doesn't generate 75, I mean 76 and above. So yeah, you now have a perfect working randomizer for a bingo. So you can use this one, this application to avoid being biased. So since it's not being generated by the computer, so we don't know, no one knows anymore what will be the next generated number. Okay. So I don't know if they can trick the manual bingo, the one that they are shaking, and then they will get the chip, and then they will say 42, etc., etc. So yeah, we can create a bingo application. We can generate a random number. Okay, so you just use projector, and then yeah. So are we clear so far regarding with this alternative solution to bingo? Any questions? So just raise your hand if you have a question. Okay, so I guess none. So we still have 3 minutes left. So in here we have another function. We call this one new random. So this is also a randomizer. And also this one is much more better than using a RND function and then a randomize function. So in here it's two in one. Okay. So it generates a number, a random number. Okay, we don't really know what will be the next one that will be generated. Then at the same time, we can already limit it. Okay, like for example, this one you can limit it up to 0 to 24. Okay, so if you want to display up to 25, then this one should be 26. So it can generate 0 to 26. Okay, so let me just show this one to you guys. Or we will already have the project or NP function. Let me just check this one. If it's generate a random number, 0, 0. All right, so it's no. Anyway, so let me just remove this one because that is the previous randomizer. So in here, if you, let's say we wanted to generate a number from 0 to 30, this one should be 31, okay, because it's always less 1 because we've started in 0. So it will generate 31 characters. So, oops, beam x. I see. Uh, X is equal to text box 1.text. Okay. Ah, it's the opposite. There you go. So it can now generate a random number from 0 to 30. Okay. So yeah, we have three types of randomizer, but this is the most safe randomizer. So you just need to declare new random or that variable as a new random, and then you can now use that the variable to generate a random number with this range 0 to 30. Okay, and then you can display it to any box that you want. Let's say text box or label. All right, so that's it for now. Since we don't have enough time anymore, we'll just continue the rest on the part 2. All right. So goodbye and see you guys later.